Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm here with a new layout for the Paige Evans design team, and I'm going to combine 3 different collections of pages for this layout. I'm going to start with this really pretty coral tone-on-tone pattern paper. It's from Turn the Page, and it's paper number 10, and I'm going to be using that as my background. I'm also going to use one of Paige's newer cut files. This is called Flourish Butterfly, and I cut it really large on some white cardstock here, and I'm going to use the actual cut file as a stencil today. And this cut file is really cool because you can use the inside pieces, you could use the actual cut file, or you could use it as a stencil like I'm going to do here. And I think this is a really fun way to use your stencils, in a different way. You don't necessarily have to use the actual cut file. And this one works great as a stencil. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of different steps here. Since this is a pattern paper, I want to jazz it up with some different things here. And so I want to make sure I know where my butterfly design is going to be. And so I tilted it to the right. I want to kind of run it off the page, kind of at a crooked angle. And I'm just using some white gesso here to smudge over the stencil so I can mark where all these shapes are going to go, because I want to smudge some more gesso around the outer edges of the butterfly. And so I'm going to just do this first here, and I'm going to wind up letting that dry. And then now I'm going to take the same thing, it's just more gesso, and I'm going to smudge it around the edges of the butterfly, just using my hands here. And I just want to create this soft haze or like a smoky effect around the butterfly. And so that's all I'm doing here. And I'm going to go over the butterfly, and so all of the spots in between the butterfly are covered. And so here we go. That's all dry. Now my cardstock, or that's not cardstock, my pattern paper there is ready to go. And it's a little bit tougher now that I've got the gesso on it. And so everything that I'm going to add on top of it is going to blend and smudge really nicely. And you're going to be able to see that bright color on top of that coral background because I've sort of whited out a lot of it. So I pulled out some of my Shimmers goodies here, and I'm going to use a lot of Dazzlers. And these are actually Dazzlers and the pasties. These are texture paste, and the Dazzlers have a really shiny, shimmery finish, and the pasties are a flat matte finish. And I'm just going to combine some bright colors here that are in some of Paige's collections, and I'm just smudging it down with a palette knife here. I want to have a colorful blended look when I peel up this white cardstock. I'm also going to add in some sprays. So I'm going to have some pinks, some oranges, some yellows, some teals, just a very kind of like a marbled look. And a lot of this is going to be nice and shiny and shimmery when I'm finished with it. But it's definitely going to look messy and artsy, I guess you could say. I like things to look messy and imperfect. And since this is a cardstock stencil, some of the paste did smudge underneath some of the shapes. And so it's not going to be a very crisp, clear image that you would get if the stencil was made from plastic or whatever stencils are made from. But I think this turned out really cool. And the actual cut file that I'm smudging on here, when I peel it off the page, it looks really cool too. And I saved it because I feel like I could use that on another layout. So I think this looks really cool. And it is very shiny because it's still wet, and it's texture paste, and it's got shimmer in it. And so I apologize that it's so shiny, but it's really pretty. Now, I did want to use some darker blues, and so I'm just taking some darker, I think that's a navy blue spray called Ahoy Matey, and I just want to darken up some areas of the blue, because in Paige's Pick Me Up collection, there are some darker blue items and parts of stickers and things, and so I'm just kind of adding in some more color here, very carefully with a brush, and just the end of the nozzle of that spray. And I think this is really cool. I really like how it turned out, and yeah, I highly recommend you try using a cut file as a stencil. I've done this a few times now recently, and I just think it always turns out really, really cool because, you could make this butterfly smaller and do a bunch of them on the page. That would look really cool. But here I just blew it up really, really big and just did one. But, there are lots of options. You could also stitch. I believe this is one of Paige's cut files that she made into the, what's it called? Sketch and Stitch. And this would look really pretty with hand stitching around it. So there are a lot of different ways that you can use the cut files. So I'm going to finish this background up with some splatters, and I'm just using similar colors of sprays that I used on the background, the aquas, the pinks. And so now everything is dry, and when you touch it, it's really nice and bumpy, but it's also smooth, and it's just kind of raised up off the page, and you can see some of the streak marks where I used the palette knife, and some of it's smooth. It just looks neat. It's just a very cool and messy background. So I'm going to use these two black and white pictures of me and Paige, and she had her arm wrapped around my neck, and she was in a silly, giddy mood, and she was laughing and giving me kisses and snuggles and trying to smudge my glasses and lick my face, and you know how kids get when they get in that silly zone. And I probably took about 50 selfies of us, and these are just two of them. I thought they were really cute, so I printed out two small ones kind of side by side in a photo strip. So I'm going to take some different shades of pink pattern papers. These are from the Oh My Heart collection, and I just think pinks and corals look really pretty mixed together, and I thought that kind of made my photos pop against the background a little bit more there. And that's why I printed these photos in black and white. I know I do that a lot, but if there's a photo that I'm using that I feel like the colors are important, or the colors really contribute to the photo or the layout, then I will definitely print it in color. But this was just taking in our house. The lighting wasn't that great. I had on a black shirt. There's some brown in the background, and so I just thought that they would look much more striking in black and white. So I did cut a little scalloped border piece from another pattern paper from Oh My Heart to add below the photos. And that's just some adhesive foam from my stash that I'm going to use for dimension. And I'm going to tilt the photo. You know me, I hardly ever have my photo perfectly straight. I like things to be at an angle or crooked. And I'm going to use this Good Life chipboard stickers here, and that's from the Pick Me Up collection. I've had those stickers for so long, and I have yet to use them on a layout. I don't think I've used those Good Life on a layout yet, so I'm going to make this a simple title, and that's going to be it. And it's got gold foil on it, and so I know it's hard to see in the light. And in my final photos, I try to always, if something is foiled or shimmery or shiny, I always try to get angled photos so you can see it in the light, because it's very hard to photograph layouts with anything foily on there, because the lighting has to be just right. So hopefully in the final photo you'll be able to see that. Now I am going to add more butterflies and stickers. This butterfly paper is from Turn the Page, and so I'm just going to kind of echo the whole butterfly theme here and fussy cut out a couple of different sizes and styles of butterflies from that paper. And I also am going to add, which I've already added it, is that wow sticker. That's from the Pick Me Up sticker sheet. So I've got my butterflies cut out, and I just kind of want them floating and fluttering to the left of the big butterfly at the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to add that yellow one kind of right on top of the photos. And I felt like it looked nice there because I have some open space in the photos for overlapping things like that. And I try to take that into consideration a lot of times when I'm taking my photos, not necessarily selfies like this. It just happened to work out. But if I'm taking pictures of my kids in the pool, or, they're actually being still long enough for me to focus on them, then I try to fix it to where I'm able to, not have them dead in the center. So that way I can, I'm always thinking about how can I scrapbook this photo? Can I overlap stuff on top of it? I know that's really OCD, but a lot of times that's what I'm thinking of. And yeah, If you're a scrapbooker, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm going to add some more chipboard stickers and stickers from Pick Me Up. I'm going to add that love piece at the top, and then that butterfly sticker that also has gold foil on it. And I'm looking at the puffy stickers from Pick Me Up. I don't think I wind up using any though, but I do try a couple. And I really like how this is turning out. I think it's really fun to make your own background like this and then embellish around it. And I felt like I didn't really need a lot of embellishing because, you know, the butterfly sort of is the focal point of everything, and it's so big. I didn't want to cover up a lot of it because it's so pretty. But I do add my thread. I think I added some earlier. I've got some yellow and some of the light blue, and now I'm adding some of that hot pink color. And I'm just going to make sure everything's glued down, especially since I used the gesso and the paste. Now this is something I use all the time. This is Paige's 30-page sticker book, and it's got a ton of stickers. You can kind of see here, I love this sheet here that's got all these kind of colored vellum phrase foiled stickers. I use them a lot. And I'm just going to use a couple, maybe I'll use one, I think. No, I use more than one. I use a couple. And they just say different general sayings that go with pretty much any type of theme that you're working on. I'm going to add my journaling. I think I'm going to add it right down there. Yes, I am. And I like to make sure that is straight. Even though I like everything else crooked, certain things I do like straight, and I want my journaling lines to be straight. So I think that's the last thing that I'm going to wind up doing. And I do use a black pen since my photos were black and white. I felt like it was okay. But yeah, there's the final layout. You can kind of see on the Good Life. I tried to get it in the light where you could see the shine. But I love how this turned out. It was fun to get messy and use that butterfly stencil as, or cut file as a stencil. And I hope that gives you some ideas. I hope you give it a try. And let me know if you have any questions. You know, keep checking Paige's Silhouette store because she adds new cut files every week. There are so many good ones, and she's so creative. It's so hard to pick and choose which ones to use. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I hope you have a great week.